Hey everyone, and welcome back to Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen, where we show you how to make easy, authentic Puerto Rican recipes. Today, we're going to be making the classic Puerto Rican appetizer, Relleno de Papa. This amazing appetizer takes picadillo, or ground seasoned beef, and then wraps it in a fluffy potato mixture before battering it and deep frying it to golden perfection. This dish is awesome as an appetizer, and if you make them a little bit bigger, can be a very fulfilling lunch. So let's get cooking!
Yo te traigo esta bomba puertorriqueña. Yo te la traigo de Coupey, de Vega Baja y de Santurce, de todas partes de Puerto Rico.
So here are the ingredients for today's recipe. Now at first blush you might be thinking like, wow, that's a lot of stuff, but don't worry, it's all very common ingredients. You probably have it in your house already, so it's gonna be straightforward. Also, a big chunk of it, the picadillo, all of this stuff here, you guys have done before, either in our recipes, we've done a number of recipes that use picadillo, or I'm sure you've even done it, you have your own recipe. So if you wanna use your own picadillo recipe, that's fine, just substitute that for all of this stuff here, right? So for the picadillo, just so you guys know, we have the ground beef. This is just chuck 80-20. We got some vegetable oil we'll use to fry the things. Then we have some chopped onions. I've chopped them pretty finely. I like to have really fine onions in my picadillo, or else you get like these big chunks, which is not super appetizing. Then we have some we have some olives and pimento, again diced. We got our sofrito, we got some diced garlic, some cilantro, some achiote oil. Again, the achiote oil is mainly for the color. I'm not using any sazon because of the MSG, but if you want to use sazon, that's fine. You probably won't need the achiote oil. Some adobo, and some tomato sauce. Again, so all of this is for the picadillo. Feel free to substitute your own picadillo recipe if you have it. It'll be the same. Then for the potatoes, we have our potatoes. These are russet potatoes. I've diced them into chunks that are about 3/4 of an inch in cubed. I think the important part about the dicing is not the size. The size will depend on how long you cook them for. The important thing is to try to keep the dice about the same size the whole way through, so everything cooks evenly. Otherwise, you'll have pieces that are really cooked and pieces that are undercooked. So diced potatoes, that's 2 pounds. It ends up being about 5 cups diced, and I think I used about 8 smallish potatoes. So keep that in mind when you're going shopping. Then to that, we're gonna add we're gonna add 1 egg, and then we're going to add some achiote oil, again for the color. There's some salt and adobo in here. I ran out of little dishes, so I had to combine stuff. So salt, adobo, butter, and then some cornstarch and cumin. That'll go in to flavor the potatoes to make the mix. And then finally for the batter, we're gonna use a pretty simple batter. It's gonna be all-purpose flour, cornstarch, and then some seasonings, just salt, adobo, and oregano. So let's get cooking.
We are going to start by making our meat filling or picadillo that we'll use to stuff the potato croquettes. Heat up a large frying pan, and once hot, add your vegetable oil and ground beef. We're going to cook the ground beef until it starts to brown and most of its liquid has evaporated. As you cook your beef, use your spatula to break it into small pieces which will easily fit inside the middle of the croquette. Keep browning your meat, stirring constantly until most of the liquid has evaporated. Then go ahead and add your onions and your garlic. Continue cooking this until the onions start to turn translucent. Then add your sofrito and your achiote oil and stir to combine. Sauté for another minute or 2 until the liquid in the sofrito has evaporated. Then add your olives and tomato sauce and sauté for another minute or 2. Next, add your adobo and stir to combine. Once combined, taste your picadillo for salt and adjust as necessary. Finally, add your chopped cilantro and turn off the heat. You don't want to overcook the cilantro because it will lose a lot of its aromatic flavors. Now transfer your picadillo to a clean container and set it aside while we work on the potato dough. To make your potato dough, heat up 8 cups of water with 2 teaspoons of salt. You want to salt your water because it will help evenly season your potatoes, and the ratio of salt to water matters because it will determine how salty your potatoes are. Once your water is boiling, add your cubed potatoes and turn the heat down to medium. We want to cook the potatoes slowly so we can take them out at just the right time. The amount of time your potatoes need to cook will depend on how big you cut them and how much heat your stove produces. My potatoes cooked in about 10 minutes, but you'll want to check yours from time to time with a fork. Once you can easily insert your fork into the potato cubes, they are done. Then pull them off the stove and drain them, rinsing with cold water until they are cool enough to handle. Lastly, make sure to drain your potatoes thoroughly. You want to get off as much water as possible. Otherwise, your potato dough will be too soft to shape. Now move your potatoes to a large mixing bowl and add the butter, the achiote oil, the adobo and salt, and the cornstarch and cumin. Once you've added all the ingredients, use a potato masher to mash all of the potato cubes and combine them with the rest of the ingredients. You want to thoroughly smash your mixture, so there are no big lumps of potatoes left. This will take some time as well as a lot of elbow grease, but it's well worth it. Getting a big chunk of potato in your relleno de papa is not all that appetizing. Once your mixture is smooth, add 1 egg and mix to combine thoroughly. This egg is pivotal to keeping your dough together when you fry it, so make sure not to forget it. I'm speaking from experience here, because I have forgotten to add the egg before and the results were not pretty. With your dough finished, we are ready to shape our croquettes. To do this, take about 1/3 of a cup of dough and form it into a ball. Then use your fingers to make a depression in the middle of the ball, effectively flattening the ball into a disc with an indent in the middle. Then add about 1 tablespoon of your picadillo into the middle of the disc and press it down into the potatoes. Then begin pressing up the sides of the disc until they meet in the middle and you are able to seal the potato dough at the top. Then just roll the ball around in your hands to make a round, spherical shape. Now repeat this process for the rest of your dough. I made roughly 9 balls with the mixture I had, although I had some picadillo left over. Once your croquettes are formed, go ahead and make your batter. Just combine your flour, cornstarch, and seasonings in a large Pyrex and mix to combine evenly. To batter your croquettes, just roll them around in the Pyrex until they are coated with batter. Then shake off any loose batter and give them a little additional love to make sure they're an even sphere and are firmly packed together. Repeat for all of your croquettes. To fry your rellenos de papa, use a deep frying pan and add enough oil to cover at least half of the height of the croquettes. Heat your oil until it reaches 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then add your croquettes 3 at a time and begin frying them. I like to move the rellenos frequently in order to ensure an even cook on all sides. Fry them until they are an even golden brown on all sides, then remove them from the oil and let them dry on some paper towel. Repeat this process with the remaining croquettes. Once they are all fried, you're ready to eat.
So there we have it, hot and fresh out of the fryer, relleno de papa. Now, as with most fried foods, rellenos de papa get a little bit soggy if you leave them out too long, so important to fry them right right before you're going to eat them. I think it's more so than other stuff. There's just a lot of moisture in those potatoes. And so fry them quickly and then fry them right before you're about to eat them, and then enjoy. So I'm going to dig in. I got a little mayo ketchup here, which didn't show you how to make. We made it many times. You can check our other videos for that recipe. But again, so you can see the potatoes still nice and fluffy on the inside. It's cooked around the outside. It's got that browning. And then in the sauce. Very delicious. No shame in using a fork either. These can get a little bit messy. The batter around the edges, you'll notice, is just very thin. I like to keep it that way. Some people like to use an egg batter where you dip it into flour and then dip it in eggs and then back in flour. I feel that gets really heavy and not a taste that I particularly enjoy. I'd rather the potatoes and the meat stand out, so we keep it really simple in this recipe. But you guys can experiment and let me know what you think. And then yeah, for the sauce, just mayo ketchup. You can make it with anything. Very delicious. And again, depending on the size of them, you could make it an appetizer. You can make them little small 1 bites. You can make them bigger. Make it a lunch kind of thing where you just pull it out and fry it and you're done. And these are great to make ahead of time. You can make them to the point where they're kind of that ball before you bread them. And then if you just cover them tightly with plastic wrap, you can put them in the fridge, leave them there for a while before breaking them out, and then just putting them in the flour and cornstarch mixture and then frying them, and they're ready to eat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us as we show you more great, authentic, awesome Puerto Rican recipes. We're trying to spread the joy about awesome Puerto Rican food, and you can help. Hit the like button, share it with your friends, and then come back again next week for another episode of Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen.